everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for being here. My name is Alejandra Horvat. I'm so thankful for being here with you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching around the world. Thank you so much for being here. I can see some familiar faces. Thank you so much, Eduardo, for being here. Thank you. Hi. I see that Ismael from West Africa is 2 a.m. Thank you for connecting. But yes, it's better that you see it on the recorded version. Thank you so much. Sigurd, you are here. Thank you so much. Thank you. It was so nice that you were with me last Friday. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much. First, my apologies for last Saturday. I had to cancel. I suffer from visual migraine, and then that started just an hour before the session. And when I have the visual migraine, I cannot see. So unfortunately, I couldn't be in the session. So I just had a chance to cancel, and that was it. So my apologies for that, but here we are. And for that reason, I'm changing the schedule. Instead in the morning, will be in the afternoons, evenings. On Saturday, I need to have a proper sleep. Otherwise, I start having those migraines, those visual migraines. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm so glad that I'm here today, and we are just resuming, right? So thank you so much for joining. So what I have for today, let me tell you, just give me 1 second. So I have been showing you a lot about spreadsheets, about Excel, about how to connect information from those spreadsheets, how to combine files, how to clean, how to do a lot of stuff with that. So today I thought about doing something a little bit different. I hope you like it. I'm not too sure you will enjoy it, but we will learn something. I hope we will learn something new today, or at least to reinforce something that we knew already. So today I want to bring information from the web. Let me start sharing my screen. And before I do that, let me pass the credits that I'm having here. Oh, I have a StreamYard in the wrong side. Let me just move this one here. And I can see that Sigurd is joining from Minnesota. I didn't mention that. Thank you so much. Giluk, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. It's 6 a.m. Oh my God, thank you so much for joining so early. Thank you, thank you. Very appreciated. So let me start sharing my screen. So now that the FIFA World Cup is kind of in the news, I'm not really a fan of soccer, but I know it's important for a lot of people. So for that reason, we're going to bring information from the FIFA World Cup hosts that we have in Wikipedia. We're going to bring some of that information for the countries who have been the hosts of that event here around this page, around this area. We're going to see how many times some of these countries put their bids on, and how many times they really got that bid approved, or they were hosters on that for that event. And then we will bring this information from this website. We will bring that information in Excel. We're going to have some pivot tables here on who was the host for that specific tournament, let's say, how many times they have been hosts. Also, we're going to see how many times some of those countries put their bids, but really how many times they got that event in their countries, right? And also, we're going to do that for countries, and we're going to do that for continents. And I'm going to show you some tricks how to do some of those graphics or some of those charts that are not allowed to use with pivot tables. For example, if I want to have a map chart from a pivot table, it won't allow me to do that because it's not available. But there are some tricks that we are going to use to create that chart for the countries who were hosts. So we can see here, for example, the darker color means that those countries were host twice. The ones that have the lighter orange they were host only once. And here we are going to have also, this chart is not available for pivot tables, but we're going to use the same trick to get the chart for all those countries who have been hosts. And also we're going to have just a very simple chart here to see some of those countries. For example, Germany had a bid 8 times. Right here, they had a bid 8 times, but they won. Let's say they were host only once. So here we can see how many times every single country, for example, Spain, bid 5 times, but it was host only once. And some of them, a lot of them, have never been host for the FIFA World Championship Cup or something like that. That's why I mentioned I'm not a soccer fan, but a lot of things that I'm going to say may not make sense, and that's because I don't know very much, but I know for a lot of you might be very important. So you can get this information from the web, and for me, it's a great opportunity to show you how to get this information from the web, okay? Here is the link for the website that I just showed you for that Wikipedia. I hope you enjoy it. It's kind of a little bit different, so I'm a little bit afraid you may don't like it. But anyways, we will try. We will see. I will never know if we don't try, right? So this is the website where we are going to get information from. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here so you can see. I'm going to put this link on the description of this video so you can have a try and practice what we're going to see today. So for me right now, I'm just going to copy this text, Control-C. I'm going to go to a new workbook. We're going to start from scratch, and we're going to go here to data. We can say get data, and I can see from other sources. It can be from web or here inside of this section where I have my data that it says get and transform data. I have one option to say from web. I'm going to click there, and from there, I'm going to have this box where I need to provide that information that I just copied. I need to provide that website address. So I'm going to say Control-V. I just need the basic at this point, and I'm going to say OK. And while this is working, I have Kasim Jan here, and it's 7 a.m. in Pakistan. Thank you so much for joining. It's very early. Thank you. I really appreciate you make the time to be here. Excellent. Here I have the navigator. The navigator is going to ask me what information I want to bring and what I want to do with that information. You can see here on the left, I have several tables. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So we can see the content of every single table. And these tables have information of, for example, the round 1, 2, 3, and 4, who was eliminated and how many points. I'm assuming everything is here, and the nations who were playing. Same thing here. Oh, probably these are the bids, I think. As I said, I'm not a soccer fan, I'm not too familiar, but I can see the tables over here. I can see there is a document. I don't need that. I have a host country. I need this probably, but then I have a list of hosts. This is exactly what I need. I want to see every single country. I can see every single year, and I can see the continent. It might not say how many times they were hosts, but at this point, I can count that in Power Query. That is not a problem for Power Query. So I can use my Power Query skills to bring that information and then know exactly how many times they host that event and how many times they bid and all that stuff that we're going to see today. Also, with my Power Query skills, I will be able to clean this information a little bit because I will have some years where this event didn't happen. So I can clean, I can filter. Also, I noticed that there was, here, in 2002, Japan and South Korea are listed here. So I need to get one or another, right? Especially when I'm going to create my my map chart. I cannot have two countries in one cell because it's not going to work. So I need to separate these two countries using Power Query. So this is one of the tables that I want to bring. This is one. And then I start looking here down below and I start seeing all the information that I have available to me. This is not just for this type of events, let's say. I can use these techniques to bring information. I noticed that when COVID start spreading and the cases start growing, a lot of people use the websites to create charts and analyze that information. So the skills that we're learning here really apply for many, many other things. I thought just to catch your attention that probably the FIFA World Cup Championship, sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, but probably this is something that you feel that you would like to give it a try. Excellent. So as any other times, I can select the tables that I want to bring. In this case, I want to bring two specific tables. I want to bring this one that has total bits, and I also want to bring this with the list of hosts. If I try to select the two on here, even if I press control and I click at one and click another one, nothing happens. It just selects one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click here in this square where it says select multiple items. Once I have that, then I have the opportunity to bring only specific tables. If I want to bring the whole folder, then I select the folder which will bring all the tables included there. In this case, let's do it just individually. I just want to bring two specific tables. So I'm gonna select these two, the ones that I mentioned, and I'm not gonna load yet, load to or load. I'm not ready to do that. I need to clean the tables first. So I'm gonna go and say transform data. Once I do that, the Power Query editor will open and I will have the tables that I want to see. First thing, let me Control-Shift plus to zoom in. The first table has, or the first query, I mean, has the name of the table that we saw in the navigator. I can leave the name as is, or I can change it. To change the name, I just double click and it says list of cost. I can remove this part that it says edit, maybe remove the spaces, something that works for you. In this case, I just try to make the name a little bit smaller so I can put this one a little bit more on the left so I can have more space on the screen. And total bits, I can press F2 as well, and I can say total bits only. There we go. Now I can adjust this part up to there. Excellent. So it didn't give us too much space, but a little bit more. Anything helps right now. So now that we have this information here, I can see that Power Query has created some steps for me. Let's start and see the source. The source, what it's doing is just using the function web page, which has another function inside that is just bringing the contents of the information from this website address, and then it's transforming that information in a language that we can understand, right? So that's really what it's doing. I have 3 columns, and here are all the tables that we saw in that preview. Let me go here, right here. In data, you will see the content of those tables. You can click at any of the white part on the right from the table, and then you can see all of those contents, let's say. Then later, we have the navigation. The navigation step is just bringing the information from the source, from the previous step. And in this specific case, is bringing information from line 7. Line 7 is the table or is the location where this table is, which means is row 8, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because Power Query is zero-based, so it's always one number different than the number that you are seeing here, right? So it's location 7, zero-based, but it's row 8, starting from 1, right? So, and that is coming from our data column. If I go to the source, if I go to the data column, if I see the row 8, then let's go back to source. I go to data and I say row 8. That is the table that I am bringing in the next step. It's exactly the same. So I'm going to go to the navigation. After that, Power Query has changed the data type. And let me move down below so you have a little bit more room to see. So now it changed the data type. Let me go and see the navigation, and let me see how different that is. And of course, there is not too much difference between one step and the other. And I know that because let's say I have everything transformed as a text in the top on the top of the column. If you click out one of those squares, you will see that the ABC means text. So all of them have that ABC. Also, if I go to the code here in the formula bar, you will see that every single column has one type assigned, and in this case, all of them are text, but that is incorrect. And the problem is because this table has two lines where the titles are. Let's say, if I go to navigation here, I can see even from the source. If I go to the source and I go to data, row 8, when I click there, I can see that my table has the column titles already where they should be on the titles, and they have the first row with the titles again. So when Power Query brings that information, extracts that from that specific column and that specific row, then change the type. But when it changes the type, it recognizes the information only from the first line and bases that recognition based on that line. And of course, the first line is all text because it's the titles of the column again. So for that reason, Power Query made a change, but nothing changes because it's exactly the same. So I'm going to remove that step because we need to clean this first. So let's go and let me make this a little bit smaller. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the first line. So what I can do, I can create a new step, or inside of this step, I can remove the first line. Let's do it in here, this very short step. So after the equal, I'm gonna say table skip. Table skip. I'm gonna open parentheses, and I'm gonna go to the end. I need to provide a table. The table is coming from the previous step. I'm going to say comma, and I need to provide a condition or account. In this case, what I'm going to provide is account because I know it's exactly one line that I want to delete. So I'm going to say 1, I'm going to close the parentheses, and I'm going to say enter. Right now, what I have is my information correctly identified, well, not correctly identified, but now I have removed that line with the title, and now I have information that should be inside of the table. The titles are what they should be. There is no repetition for those titles, and now I have the information that I need. Excellent. The next thing that I need to do, of course, I can see here I have 8 bits. If I didn't have this number, but if I had the years, I could split this information. I could split these years and count them to get the number 8. In this case, I have that information already. But if you wanted to know how many bits you had because you didn't have this column, you can just select the column, right-click, and say split column by delimiter. And in this case, and that was something that Seagull asked at one point, and it helped me a lot to learn a lot because at that time I didn't know what it was. But right now I have a comma. Oh, actually, this is not exactly what Seagull asked, but we will see that later on. But we will use also these options, see, right? So it will be split column by delimiter, and I want the comma. But if you see, there is a comma and one space. So I want the comma and the space. For that reason, I'm going to go to custom, and I'm going to say comma, space. So everything will be split, and it will be split in rows. I don't want to split this in columns. I want to split this in rows. I want that the years that are listed here or are contained here, they go in a vertical form. I want them in rows. So I'm going to go to advanced options, and I'm going to select rows. And then I'm going to say, okay. By doing that, then I have all the years that I had in that specific cell or in those specific rows. I'm going to have that in that specific column. Now that I have that information there, I can group by country. Let's say I'm going to click there. I'm going to right click at country, and I'm going to say group. What is group? Group by. That is correct. I'm going to leave this count rows, or I'm going to say count bits. And I'm going to say, okay. And then I would have the number of bits that every single country had. That is, as I said, if we didn't have that column that has the numbers already, okay? But because I have that already, so I'm going to remove these steps that I have in here up to data 7. And you saw that the navigation step changed. Every time that we try to change navigation step here, and if we press F2, nothing happens. But because I applied a function before this code that Power Query generated when extract that information from the table, because I applied this function before that, then Power Query changed the name and changed it to data 7, which is the real name for that step. If I go to view advanced editor, that is how Power Query really call that step when transform this table into we brought this information from the original table where we have all the rows with all the information from the website. It brought the information from, remember that we have those curly brackets and we have the number 7 there? Well, that's how Power Query called this step data 7. So, but now that I apply a function here, if I remove that function, let me remove that so I can show you what I mean. I'm going to say enter. Then the step goes back to navigation. And if you try to change it, you cannot change it. But if you go to the advanced editor, you can see the real name of that step, and it's data 7. Now that we modify this code and we say that I want to skip one line with the titles because that line had the titles again, then now what happens, Power Query brings the real name for that step. I hope that was clear. I hope I didn't confuse you too much. And very quickly, let me just pass some hellos. Hello, Sandieli. I hope I'm saying this correctly. Sandieli, thank you for being here. Very, very happy to have you. Thank you. Thank you, Eladio. Very happy to have you here. Thank you so much. Cheers to Chile. Thank you. Excellent. Okay. And here, Eduardo says that wonderful. Your channel is wonderful, Sandieli. Thank you. Excellent. Okay. Now that we have this information, and I know here that I have specific numbers, how many bits, so I don't need really the column years. And also, do I need this one? Let me see over here. I don't need the times hosted. Let me think about it. Let's leave time hosted. I'm gonna right click in years and I'm gonna delete. I'm gonna say remove. Okay. Now I remove that column. I have the country, I have the bits and the times hosted. I'm gonna go to my other query, list of hosts. And here we're gonna do some transformations. As I mentioned, Power Query has changed the data type. In this case, do I have the same problem? No, in this case, I don't see the titles. Oh, perfect. No, in this case, it changed the data type correctly, but we still have some transformations to do. So I'm going to remove that step. I want to do that at the end. And here we need to filter this information. I don't want to have these rows that it says cancel. And I want to also split this cell, or let's say this row. I want to split it in two because in that year, seems like 2 years were hosts. I need to split it because I need it for my map. At the end of the day, I need to have this accurate. Otherwise, the map won't understand, or the chart won't understand this line, and it might give me an error. So what I'm going to do first, I can do some transformations here. We did it in the other query. So this time, let's use the row here on the top, just beside host nation. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove cancel because World War II. And also, I'm going to cancel Canada, Mexico, United States. And before I do that, let me remove, because these guys, what is Canada, Mexico, and United States? Here. We are all, and I say we because I'm in Canada. So here is for 2026, which is not happening just yet. So I don't want to have that one here. So I'm going to remove that. For that reason, when I go here to the top of the column, I say click, I give a click to that row. I want to remove Canada, Mexico, United States. I'm going to remove cancel because World War II, and I'm going to say okay. Excellent. Now the next thing that I need to do, I need to split this row in two. And here is where I'm going to apply something that Sigol asked many weeks ago. It was at the beginning of this live event. So I want to split this, but this has a special character. And the special character is, and I know it is because to go from one line to another within the same row, we are using a special character. And I'm going to select this column. I'm going to right click. I'm going to select the split column by delimiter. It's showing here a space. It's not a space because nothing is going to happen. So I'm going to go to advanced options. And here I'm going to say, I want this using special characters. So here, if you don't have this available, because right now it's grayed out, it doesn't allow me to click here. So I'm going to go here where it says quote character, and I'm going to say no. Once I say no, oh, this one didn't want to work. Okay, so let's go and see custom. Oh yeah, sorry, it's not this one. I'm going to leave as it was, the apostrophes. I'm going to go to select or enter delimiter. I'm going to say custom, and then it's going to allow me now to click here where it says split using special characters. And when I go there, let me make this one over here. And when I'm there, I'm going to click and I'm going to say is most likely the line fit. If the line fit doesn't work, then try the carriage return. You cannot tell from what you are seeing, you cannot tell. For me, it's the same, but for Power Query, it's not. So if the line fit doesn't work, then try carriage return in this specific case. So I'm going to say line fit, and I'm going to say, okay. When I do that, now Japan and Korea are being split, but they have been split in two columns. I don't want that. I want that Japan is one row, South Korea is another row. So what I'm going to do, it created that change type step. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to go back to my step split column. I'm going to click to that year. And here, where I said that I want to use a split using special characters, remember that with the other query, we went to advanced options and we selected rows because we want to keep it in the same column, but in different row. Well, that's what we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to click in rows and I'm going to say, okay. And instead of having two columns now, I have one column where I have Japan and the other column where I have South Korea. So it has worked. So I may have something else you can see in here. If you click at Japan, you will see at the bottom, if you select the last part of the word, I have a space there. But also, if I click at the bottom, let me see. I just did it. Okay, let me go back here, and you can see in here, if I click down below Japan, my cursor start doing this. So what I need to do, I need to remove that space. Let's see if I trim this column, that helps. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to say transform, and I'm going to say trim. Now that I did that trim, Japan is just, it doesn't have that space anymore. It looks just normal in one row. Now that I did that, I'm ready, from what I'm seeing, I'm ready to pass this to, oh, it changed the type here. Oh, that's okay. I'm going to move the change type to the end. I've just selected and drag it to the end. And here I can see the trim is correct. Excellent. My information is ready to go to Excel. Okay. I can see here, okay, Eladio is telling us that Alexandra Sandieli tiene un canal, has a channel in DAX, very good. So if you want to see, I imagine it's in Spanish or Alexandra. Oh, Alexandra Sandiel. Oh, okay, Sandieli Ortega. Okay, and now I understand. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alexandra, for being here. Thank you, Eladio. Very appreciated. Thank you so much. Excellent. Well, Alexandra has a very nice, very good channel in DAX. Thank you. So if you want to check it out, take a look there. Okay, perfect. Now we have the information that we need. Let's go to home, close and load to, and we're going to create our pivot tables. I'm going to create, only create connection, and I'm going to say, okay. Once I have that, I'm going to pass this information here as pivot tables. I'm going to right click as a list of hosts. I'm going to say load to, and I'm going to say pivot table, pivot report, existing worksheet, and I'm going to say okay. Once I'm there, I have the options in my pivot table here on the right, and I'm going to bring these host nations on the rows, the year. I'm going to bring, I don't want the year. So here I don't have the count of how many times they host this event, right? That's not a problem. I select host nations again, and I drag it to values. And what Excel is going to do is going to count these items because it cannot add them because it's not a number, it's a text. So the only thing that Excel knows or can figure out at this point is, well, if I cannot count them, if I cannot sum them, I can count them because they are items that are in text. So for that reason, I have my count here. I don't have to create another column in Power Query. I don't have to create another column anywhere else. I can just drag host nations to values, and that's all that I need to do. It's very simple, and I use it more often because it's just simple to me, right? My data doesn't increases creating another columns, adding, etc. I just drag. So it's very, I just find it very easy. And I can just change the title here. I can say hosting times, let's say. I'm sorry if I'm saying something very wrong. As I said, I might not be using the correct terms, but really the goal is just to present the techniques that we can use to grab that information from the web using Power Query, right? Now, here is my pivot table with that information. Now, what else can I do here? Okay, let's leave it. Oh, yeah, the nation, the continent. I'm going to select my pivot table. Oh, and one more thing, I'm going to delete the grand total. I don't need that for my map chart. So I'm going to right click here where the 23 is, and I'm going to say remove, what is that one? Oh, it doesn't allow me the total. Let me go to the top. I'm going to right click. Okay, this doesn't allow me to remove the grand total. If you see it there, no. Okay, if it doesn't allow me, then I'm going to go to design, grand totals, and I'm going to say off. And then the grand total is gone. And I don't want to use it for my map chart. Okay, once I have it here, Control C, I'm going to go down below this. Don't do this at home. If you're going to create a pivot table in a different tab. It's a good practice. If for any reason I want to expand my pivot table, right now, if I'm going to copy something down below, if I want to expand the one on the top, I'm going to create errors. I'm going to get errors because it won't be able to expand. It's just not practical. So good practice is to create pivot table per tab. In this case, I need to do it in the same sheet so you can see all the transformations that we are going to do. So once I'm here down below, I'm going to say Control V. And the thing that I'm going to change here, I want the host nations. I want the continent instead of host nations on the row. So I'm going to remove host nations, and I'm going to get continent on the rows. And then I have here what I need, right? So I can create another chart with this information. Okay. Now let's bring the information from total bits. I'm going to right click. I'm going to say load to. And when I want to bring a pivot table on the existing worksheet, and I want that maybe just over here, column H, and I'm going to say OK. The pivot table that will come from there will be times hosted. That's going to go on the values, and the country is going to go on the rows, right? And in this time, why it brought me? Oh, and it brought this information as count. Like, why is bringing this as count? I need the numbers, and these were numbers. Well, I probably didn't change the data type correctly, so I'm going to go to this query that is historical bits, and I'm going to double click there and see, yes, the problem is that I didn't change the data type. For Power Query, this information is still sitting here as text. You can see that I have a change type before that, but this really didn't do anything. So I'm going to remove this step that it shouldn't be there. Once I'm here in my last step that says remove columns, I'm going to select one column, Control A to select the whole table. I go to transform, and I'm going to say detect data type. Excellent. Now this is identified as text. This is a whole number, and this is a whole number. If I click at the square right there, I can see whole number at 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Now, I have this information correct now. I'm going to go home, close and load again. Now you will see that it will continue having the count of times. But if I go to my pivot table fields, I remove that from the values, and I bring it again, bits, I go to values. Now I have the sum of that, all those times when they bid for that event to be in their country, be host in their country, right? So I can change the title for this. Instead of some bits, I'm going to say space bits, and then that's it. Perfect. Okay, I'm just checking that I have no questions. Excellent. Now I have that information. I'm going to remove the grand total. Let's see if I right click and I say remove bits. Usually I have the option. Oh, it's because I haven't changed the layout. Okay. So I'm going to just go to pivot table design, and I'm going to remove the subtotals, and that's it. So what happens if now I want to create a map, a map chart from this pivot table? If I go here, if I go to, what is that one? Pivot table analyze, and I say pivot chart. I go to map. What is that? I'm using Microsoft 365. I believe 2016 doesn't have this chart available. I'm not too sure about 2019, but I think 2019 may have it. I'm not 100% sure, but for sure Microsoft 365 or Excel 2021 will have it. So I'm gonna just click there, and it doesn't allow me, and it says that it's not available for pivot table. So I'm gonna say cancel, and there are two ways to bring this, two tricks that we can use to use the map chart. So I can Control C, select the pivot table, Control C, right here on E2, Control V. Sorry, no Control V. Right click and paste as values. This is gonna be where I'm gonna get that information from. So I'm gonna select that. I'm gonna go to Insert. I'm gonna select Maps, and I'm gonna bring the map that I want. And you can see that I have the chart right here. Now this chart is pointing to information that is on cell E2 to F21. Let's go here where it says chart design, and it says select data. Once we have that information, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. No, I can't. But in here where it says chart data range, it says E2 F21. I'm gonna delete E, and I'm gonna point B because it's B2 where my pivot table is, and I'm gonna say C instead of F. So it will be B2 to F21, and then I'm gonna say okay. And now my map chart is pointing out to the correct pivot table. I can delete this information now right here, and I still have my map chart. So I have that. Let me move this one over here. Let's do the same now with the continents. if I go to pivot table analyze and I go to insert or no design, oh no, yes, pivot table analyze. What is my charts? Pivot chart right here, just in front of my nose. So, and I want to bring a tree map. If I click there, it says the same. It's not available for a pivot table. So we're gonna do the second trick. So I'm gonna say equal B25, and then this is gonna be equal C25. I'm gonna select this, and I'm gonna just drag that information down below, right here, and it's gonna copy that info. Now I can grab my map from here. So I select anywhere, or actually I select the whole thing here, and I'm gonna go to insert. I'm gonna click here to bring all the maps. I'm gonna say all charts, and I'm gonna bring tree map. And now I have this available. So I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna bring it, and now I have my tree map here. Excellent. And for the last one, with all the beads that they probably didn't even want any. So I'm gonna bring also the times hosted. So let me move this one over here. We are gonna move the charts to another tab. So that's why I'm just moving them to the right. Now I brought in my pivot table the times that this event was hosted, and I'm just having the total bits and the times this was hosted. So I can bring another chart. I'm gonna go to insert, and I'm gonna go here, click at this arrow. I'm gonna select combo, and for the combo, I want the line for the times hosted and the cluster and the columns for the bits, and I'm gonna say okay. And that is just what it brought. So I'm gonna select all the maps. I'm selecting one map. I'm gonna say Control A to select all of them. Any object will be selected. Once you select one object and you press Control A, then it's gonna select all the objects in that sheet. So I'm gonna say Control X to cut all of that information. It's taking a little bit of time. I'm gonna open a new tab, and I'm gonna Control V. So I'm gonna paste all that information here. Excellent. So now I can start taking care of my map, of my charts. So I'm gonna move the map over here, and I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. So we're gonna start with the map. So in here I can have a title. So I can say hosting countries. And this information is from 1930 to 2022. I don't like this part, hosting times. I can just select that and delete, so I have more room for my chart. And I can, how to say this, change the formatting on this map. So I can right click and I say, oh, right here, okay, format chart area. And that is just to have all the options over here. I can change here on the format. I can actually chart design. I can select the design that is better for you. And here, let's skip this one. If I click at inside of the map and I say, okay, I want to start checking the countries. Now I have these little bars available. I'm gonna click there, series colors. I can control the colors here. If I want more intense, I can select them from here. Series options, here map labels, I can have none, or I can have best fit only, and it's gonna bring the name of the countries and so on and so forth. So what else are here on the borders? I can say radiant line or solid or no line. So I can control that part over here, right? Also, in this part where it says change color, I can select a variety of colors. In this case, because I have only, it was hosted once or twice, I have only 2 different colors, right? So, but when I have many more options, I can have a different colors or a different tones of one color. So here in this part, every time that I just pass my mouse on top of those colors, you will see that information that it changes, and then you can select the one that works better for you. So this is how we can select. And in this case, for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. You can practice and change according with your preferences. With this other chart, I can click at these green areas. I'm gonna right click and I can set hide all fill bottoms on chart. And then it removes those green options or green boxes, and it gives me just more room on the chart. I can click at this plus, and I can say, well, the legend, I want the legend to be on top. So it looks a little bit better for the bars or for this information that we're looking for every country. And you can add titles. So click on the plus and say, what is the titles? Access chart titles. And I want that on the top as well, above chart. So I can do this, and I can say bids versus hosting, something like that, right? And then Control A to select the whole text, and I can say Control Shift plus to make the font bigger, or Control Shift, actually Control Shift higher than, or Control Shift lower than. Is those signs that are just with the comma and the dot, let's say, just beside your shift. You have it there very, very close to your shift. So that's how you can do it, but be careful because this shortcut just works in charts. If you try to have a bigger font using this shortcut, it's not going to work in the Excel worksheet. It works only in the charts. So same here, if I select this times hosted, Control Shift greater than, and then allows me to have that a little bit bigger, right? Or Control Shift lower than, and then I can do it smaller. So also I can move the titles. Let's say I want to move the title to the left, and then the labels on the right. This one always takes me a little bit more time. Excellent. So I can move it over here. I can also move my chart, expand it a little bit more. I have more chart room if I want to. In the right side where this format series is, I can also select more information, right? So I can decide how much gap do I have in between each bar, if I have one more, if I want less, and so on. The secondary axis, I can see, I can modify according with my needs, okay? So I hope you didn't know some of these tips. So you find value on this in this tutorial. Excellent. Now let's go with our tree map. And the tree map, we can see that Europe, it has been the continent with more events hosted, and then South Africa later, then Asia, North America, and then Africa seems to have the lower amount of events hosted there. So I like this one quite a bit because it's more visual, especially for those people who don't like to see many numbers. They are more visual. I really like to present this type of chart. So here, trying to organize this, it doesn't allow me to move the chart title. It just doesn't like that. So, but anyhow, you can double click there, you can Control A. And now let's say, here I'm going to say continents. And here, let's say you want to change here the style. So you can check on the top, you can see which style may work better. And let's say you change the style, but then you realize, I would prefer something a little bit more uniform. I want to have something more kind of brand, like the brand we like the greens or the blues or something. So you can go here on the chart design. No, actually you go to page layout and you go to colors, and you can select a specific type of colors. Let me go out of the chart, and then I go colors, and then you go with a specific design, let's say, which will be applied to all your charts at once. You can select green, yellow, or yellow. Let me go down. Maybe this one will be better. It has more colors. So you can select a specific color design, let's say, so like that one, or you can select just grays, and all the charts will follow that criteria. Okay, so I like that one, for example. So all of the charts follow the same idea, the same design, right? So the same style, I mean. So So that's all that I have for you today. I don't know if you like it. It's way different than what we usually see every week, but we'll see. We'll see if you like it or not. Let me know in the comments. So, but yeah, I just don't want to keep just showing the same and same. I want to show you a little bit different things. And the chart, as you can see, is not my strength. So I don't know how to combine the colors very well, but I just wanted to give you some tips that hopefully can help you in your day-to-day work. Thank you so much. I cannot believe it. I think I just did 50 minutes. I didn't do more than an hour. That is something different too. So please let me know if you like this type of presentations, or we go back to what we were showing before. I hope I can start bringing some guests at one point. So stay tuned with that. So we'll see. Thank you so much for all of you who stayed the whole time. Thank you so very much who joined, who just came to say hi. Thank you so much for being here. That's all that I have for you today. Also, next week, I'm not too sure if it's going to be at the same time that is right now. Oh, here is Alejandro. I didn't see Alejandro. Hi, Alejandro. I'm sorry. I missed your hello. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers to Panama. So, yeah, I'm not too sure if it's going to be the same time, because I'm seeing that for a lot of people it's quite different. It's quite late or early, so I'm not too sure. But let's try. Let's try some days, and I want to change also the format. I want to try to bring only some items that are going to be quite smaller. I'm seeing that it seems like in this specific channel, topics that are shorter seem to be well received. So we'll see. Let's see. Let's see. Thank you so much. See you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alejandro. Excelente. Oh, thank you so much. I hope you saw some tips that you probably didn't know, or something that you didn't use in a long time. Hopefully help to refresh your memory. Thank you. I like it very much. Oh, thank you so much, Igor. I really appreciate that. I'm glad to hear that you like it. Yeah, these headaches, and they don't tell me like I'm coming. No, it's like suddenly it's not happening, and I just, yeah, it just gets difficult, and I need to see to show you what we're gonna do that day, right? So, yeah, so that's why in the afternoon gives me a little bit more time for that resting, and also that usually happens in the morning. So hopefully they will go away soon. So thank you so much. See you on Tuesday in Spanish. Yes, see you next Tuesday. And I'm so glad that everybody's here. So thank you so much. Oh, I hope so. I am glad. I hope that if you didn't learn something in Power Queries, hopefully you learn something in Excel, or vice versa. So I'm hoping you find some value in what I'm showing. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And those who are watching the recorded version, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. I'll see you next week. For those who follow this channel only, I'll see you next Saturday. And for those who are joining me on the Spanish channel, see you on Tuesday or Thursday. Okay? Have a great weekend. See you. Bye-bye.